Assassin's Creed Shadows has now been delayed to March 20th. Delayed again. Um, shout out to my prediction in last episode where I was like, I think this could be the end of Ubisoft. I think it's just too packed of a February for that game to come out. I don't think it's going to be a bad game. I really don't. I just think it's just a game that, like, because of the meme that is Ubisoft and the meme that is Assassin's Creed, whatever, that's been kind of mid or whatever, no one's going to pick it up. They're going to go play something else that's coming out in February versus this. Yeah, now you're moving it to March, which also has some other games coming out that people are going to be interested in, but gives it a little bit better chance at life, at least in my opinion. But here's the thing. This just tells me that there is so much writing on this game. Am I wrong into reading into that? Because I feel like this is legitimately about to be the end of the current Ubisoft. Like, am I wrong to read into that this way, where it's like I feel like everything's riding on the success of this game?
I mean, not necessarily, because they've scaled everything else back, and they're trying. It's because it's like everything, pretty much everything they release these days, nobody cares about.
True.
Yeah.
And
No excitement.
Unfortunately, I don't think Shadows. I mean, it could be a fantastic game. I don't think it's gonna matter necessarily. The game's gonna end up, in my opinion, underperforming. Honestly, I think Assassin's Creed. I think it's just kind of run its course.
Yeah.
I think it's run its course for a long time. They tried to reinvent it with the
open
Origins and Odyssey and that, and try to turn it into more of an RPG, because of the fact that the formula of it is very much like it's a game that excelled in like the 2010s.
Yeah.
But these days it's there's not a whole lot to innovate on that genre and kind of keep it how it is.
Yeah.
Or like the Assassin's Creed, because it's like at the end of the day you're running around a city, climbing on walls and assassinating people, and like fighting guards off stuff. It's like, yeah, it's great, but it's fairly similar gameplay throughout all the games.
Right.
There's not a whole lot you can do with it if you're gonna keep to that style. And then I said, they changed it to the RPG, try to freshen it up, get some new players and stuff in. And that worked for a while, but then people were over it.
Yeah.
Try to go back to their roots, and like Mirage, apparently decent game.
Yeah, apparently a good game, but it's still just like the interest wasn't there.
It's like I do think it is that aspect of it's a game that's run its course.
Yeah,
because it's kind of like the other franchise that comes to mind with that is weird one to say, Far Cry.
True.
It's like Far Cry hit its peak at 3 essentially, and then every game since then has been trying to recapture 3.
Yep.
And as we've seen, it's like every time people buy the new one, and then the interest is slowly dropped off.
Yep. Yeah, and the thing that I've been thinking about, and the thing that's so like sad for this particular case with Shadows, is like, this is the one thing that people have asked for since like Assassin's Creed started. You know what I mean? Is like, hey, let's go to Japan. You know what I mean? Like, let's go to like something in that realm, that area. Like the feudal era, whatever. Like, let's do something there. That's what people have wanted forever. But now it's like, I feel like it's just come too late, because again, the interest isn't there. And I really don't know what could bring interest back to the property. I really don't. They went this big open world RPG style for 3 games. It was like John just said, it was fine for a little bit, but then everyone's just kind of over it, especially when you have a game like Valhalla, which is just so big in scope, where it's just like, it's going to take you forever to complete the game, right? Like, I don't know. Like, again, Mirage was not a bad game, apparently. Apparently, it was a good game, but it still is like the interest isn't there. Like, I don't know I don't know what they would have to do to bring interest back to the property. I don't know like what sort of game, like, genre or gameplay mechanic they could bring in to kind of spice it up. I don't know if the answer is to go back and do another game on, whether if it be a big remake or another installment to like probably the three most notable and beloved assassins being like Altair, Ezio, and the character from 4, what's his name, Edward.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if going back to one, to kind of like what they did with Life is Strange, right? Like you bring back the character everyone loves, and it's just like, okay, cool, let's go. Kind of the same thing. It's like, do you go back to one of those 3 characters to try to spark a little bit of interest, or how do you change up the gameplay? Like I just don't see a route that can bring Assassin's Creed like back to any sort of major relevance. I think like what John said, it's just kind of run its course.
I'm in agreement with John with it's probably run its course. I mean, in my mind, the only way I really see that Assassin's Creed really coming back is almost if they honestly go just quiet and just let the series disappear to where people's like, what happened to Assassin's Creed?
Right.
And maybe re-go and reevaluate how whatever they can do to maybe spark new gameplay mechanics or consider go back to what was successful across their 3 open world ones, what worked, what didn't, because I think Odyssey was probably the best received, I think, out of those. Even though Valhalla was, I think, fairly well received, as you mentioned, it was just so long that at some point people were just like, why am I still playing this?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think you're right. I think both of you guys are right, because it's like, again, I don't know what could bring interest back to the property. I just don't. And maybe the answer is just to go quiet on it. You know what I mean? But are they going to? No.
No.
Because we have the Project Jade, which is that, I think, the mobile game. We have the Project Hexy, which I was actually interested in the Project Hexy. That was one where it's like, okay, well, this is a completely different kind of take with potential like Southern like witchcraft kind of BS, whatever. I was like, that seems interesting. Or it was some sort of witchcraft stuff, maybe like Salem witch trials or like Southern stuff. I don't know. Either way, seems interesting. But then you have the looming Project Infinity, which is going to apparently have like every game in one or whatever, like a central hub game or something. I don't know. But it's like you're going to put forth all the money on this and it's going to flop.
Yeah, I think that's essentially just like the Master Chief collection.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe that I got. Yeah.
But to Zach's point of like them disappearing for a little while, it made me think because I mean one of my favorite franchises essentially did that. They went quiet for 8 years, came back, reinvented the game as God of War.
Yeah.
Yeah.
God of War, their previous game came out in like 2013 with Ascension. And then, or no, it was like 2010, I think.
That sounds about right.
Somewhere around the 2010 era, they made that, and then it was silent. We heard nothing about it for like 6.5 years until they revealed God of War. Completely revitalized the franchise, brought all the old players back, brought new people in, blew everybody's mind.
Yep.
Do I think they're going to do anything like that? No. It's like they don't need to disappear, but the other thing is they don't need to disappear for 5 years, 8 years, anything like that. Just go quiet. Stop talking about Assassin's Creed for a couple years.
Right.
At this
I was
point,
gonna say, yeah,
nobody
they
cares.
don't have to do anything as drastic as what God of War did, because I feel like if they did that, that would just completely kill it.
They could have done that for a little bit after Valhalla.
Probably.
Like if they went quiet for a couple years after Valhalla instead of like for the next 2 years, we just kept seeing like major updates or DLCs or something for Valhalla, and then immediately go into like Mirage and that. Yeah, we could have just stayed quiet for a couple years and then come back out and be like, look, we're going back to our roots for this style that everybody missed. Maybe they could have got a bigger reception.
Right. I think you're probably right. So I think like depending on, well, I'm not even gonna say depending because I think we already know how Shadows is gonna go. I'm gonna predict now. It's gonna be well received. It's gonna be like Mirage. It's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be fun. People are gonna enjoy playing it, but it's not gonna be a financial success. You know what I mean? So I feel like maybe, if everything goes as I predict and Shadow is essentially a financial flop and the family that has long run Ubisoft it loses control of Ubisoft and there's a total top to bottom change of Ubisoft, then that's when we may go quiet on Assassin's Creed for a while. Project Hexy, not going to hear about it. Infinity, not going to hear about it. Jade, nope, nothing, nada. potential that Black Flag remake that I think there was a rumor for that at one point. None of it. All of it's going to be gone. Maybe that is the play. It's just to go quiet and just come back with something big. You know what I mean? But also to kind of think about like what happened with like God of War and stuff. You know, with obviously with God of War, you have your one central character and you bring that central character back in kind of a new light and stuff. So it's like, again, maybe a possible route to go at some point to bring interest back to Assassin's Creed is to take another installment story of some capacity of one of these beloved characters. One of the most notable characters, because it's like for most people, I mean, can you know, if you're just a casual Assassin's Creed fan, besides like maybe Altair and Ezio, or Edward, if you just know the incredible lore of 4, it's like, can you sit here and name me the main characters for a lot of these other Assassin's Creed games that have like maybe like flopped or weren't big successes? I mean, I can give you Connor in 3. I can't give you Unity, can't give you Syndicate, can't give you Rogue. Couldn't give you any of the ones of the RPG ones, and I played I played 2 of those. You know, couldn't even give you the guy from Mirage, although I know it was portrayed by Agent Stone from the Sonic films. Shout out to that. But I couldn't give you anything beyond that. You know what I mean?
I mean, mine would be Syndicate because that's Jacob and Evie Fry, and that's because that's the last Assassin's Creed I really got into.
Yeah, that's is that the one that's based in like London?
Yeah.
No, yeah, that game
It's
looks.
the one that it's the one that I was on the opposite side. Most people didn't really like it. I enjoyed it.
Isn't that the game that's just like, even to this day, looks ungodly beautiful? Like the city, like the environment, and everything that you're in. Like, doesn't it just look incredible?
It looks solid, yeah.
Because I remember like just seeing clips about it still to this day, where it's just like, man, where people's like, man, I really don't like this game, but God bless, the graphics are so good.
Oh yeah, no, it looks solid. Yeah, just for whatever reason, most of the Assassin's Creed fan base didn't like that one. I mean, I enjoyed it. I liked making a gang in London.
Yeah. So I don't know. With Assassin's Creed Shadows being delayed, I just feel like that spells the end of this current Ubisoft, and potentially spells the end of Assassin's Creed for some time, which is unfortunate because at one point I absolutely loved this property. Whenever it was 1, 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, and even up to 3, I loved this property at one point. Now it's just like, oh God, another Assassin's Creed. So.
For me, it's unfortunate to see you fall from grace like this.
Yeah, it is.
I'm not an Assassin's Creed guy. I could take it or leave it.
Yeah, it is a sad thing to see it fall from grace the way that it has. So that's why I feel like just going away is probably the best play.